almost ready with the setup and going to deal with cultural studies. आपके सामने मैथ्यू आर्नोल्ड है, which this is actually your last point. तो all set हो गया. If it's needed, my assistant is with me now. I just requested him to be with us. Voice, I hope it's clear, and now it's time to get set, go with the lectures. First thing, as I wanted to talk about this particular session, these are PYQs. So I'm going to deal with some selective questions of cultural study. The best way of solving previous year's question is that if possible, make a list. Suppose what happens, you start solving the PYQs. First question, British history. Second question, Greek literature. Third question, literary devices. All of a sudden, your mind is running like that randomly. One must have done that. One must have tried that. I must tell you this, it is a wrong procedure. Now, I'll switch the slides on so that I'm quite visible for you, and switch the slide on also, off and on. Yeah, now fine. Okay. So the best way is choose the questions, connect it to a particular field, and then go for it. Let's not waste a lot of time. First thing, today I'm going to talk about culture studies, and in culture studies, the most important thing that you have to remember is the definition. Then we will go for the questions. Till then, you all will join us. So in culture studies, we have definition. Matthew Arnold, the first person who actually dealt with culture and anarchy. What was his famous work? Culture and Anarchy. In Culture and Anarchy, he talks about the definition of culture. Culture and Anarchy, he talks about the definition of culture. According to him, culture is something best that has been thought and said. That has been thought and said. According to him, culture is something best that has been thought and said. So, see, online students, offline students, you already have done this, but the new students, it is as a duty of a teacher also, like to share some free content. So, please see what is the important thing. Culture and Anarchy. Culture is something best that has been thought and said. This is the most important thing that you have to remember. Matthew Arnold, famous work, Culture and Anarchy, the first person who talks about these definitions. Now, let's go for the important questions. Here we go. This is the topic now. So, first thing, whenever I teach culture studies, I always talk about Matthew Arnold. Please remember the idea of Hellenism, Hebraism, Philistines, barbarians, populace. These kind of questions have been asked. All these terms are connected to Matthew Arnold. We have done these things in classes. Now let's go for this. Culture studies, exam time, capsule content. The paper we have is June 2023. Question number 51. Now, what was the question? The question is not important. We are not going to deal and analyze the question because the time is less. अभी समय बहुत कम है. We have to hit the bull's eye. Simple thing. The question was set them in order. All these books were given. The question was set them in order. So what you have to do, just simple point is, all of these books are written by Raymond Williams, one of the leading author of culture studies, famous writer, famous work, Country and the City, The Black Mountain. So please remember this. Take a screenshot. These books are already in order. These books are already in order. That's the reason I did not use any exam PDF, our own paper solution PDF. I did not use that because I wanted to use my pen in a proper way. So I wrote all these things for you. Please take a screenshot. Culture and Society 1958, Long Revolution 1961, Marxism and Literature 1977, Writing in Society 1983, The Politics of Modernism 1989. Online student, offline student, I told you these two books are very important. So, if you're not able to mug up all the dates, I recommend you. These two books are very, very important. I told you they can ask in-depth questions from these two books. Other books, they can definitely talk about the timings. So, take a screenshot. Now, go for the next one. This is question number 37. Again, your exam, June exam, last exam. They simply talked about the idea of Stuart Hall. They said, who has written these books? So, Stuart Hall and two books. But as it is exam time capsule content, what's important? Important is that we study something more related to that. First thing, who is Stuart Hall? So, Stuart Hall is actually a member connected to CCCS, Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies, Birmingham School. He is the member of Birmingham School. So, first thing, Stuart Hall, member of Birmingham School of Cultural Studies, Birmingham School of Cultural Studies, CCCS, Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies. They can ask you full form of this thing, CCCS. If you don't know, do it now. Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies. Now, the important thing is, what are the books written by Stuart Hall? So the simple answer was this. Encoding, decoding. Now, encoding, decoding in television discourse. In online class, in offline class, we have talked about this book. We have talked about the negotiation between television and the viewer. We also talked about transactional reference. Please remember, encoding, decoding in television discourse, 1973. Timing yaad kar lo. Ratta maar lo timing ka. Now, the second work we have is Rediscovery of Ideology. Rediscovery of Ideology, 1982, deals with media theory. Rediscovery of Ideology, 1982, deals with media theory. So please remember, this book is also by Stuart Hall and deals with media theory. Note it down. The Rediscovery of Ideology, 1982. Now you have noted down these two books. Now, let's talk about the other works. Because when we are solving paper, we have to get maximum idea for the next paper. Now this solving paper is not for the knowledge purpose. Now this paper solution is to get more questions for next paper. We have to understand what can be the next question. The Raw and the Cooked by Claude Lévi-Strauss. This is a famous book, The Raw and the Cooked, that deals with literary references of theoretical study. Raw and the Cooked, published in 1964. They can ask this question once again. So make sure you don't forget that. That's written by Claude Lévi-Strauss. Claude Lévi-Strauss. It's very important. Then comes the next work. What is digital humanities? Do you know that digital humanities is the latest part of culture studies? It is not even developed in proper way. So yes, the idea of digital humanities dealt by Robert Busa, the famous writer. The famous writer is Robert Busa. What you have to do now, just remember the name of the writer, Robert Busa. Name of the work, what is digital humanities? Timing 1946. ये पेपर में आ सकता है. This can be asked. If you did not know this thing, अगर आपने अभी तक ये नहीं पढ़ा था, this is a free live lecture. The advanced lectures, other things we are already sharing in online classes. There I'm doing my duty. This is also my duty. So I'm sharing these free content. Like the video. Check this thing. Robert Busa. What is digital humanities? 1946. Another book of culture study. Mark this up. Mark this up. Now, the next one we are left with in this particular slide, we have cultural industry. Now, point is, there are two people, Max Horkheim. I can be making some spelling mistake here because their names are really tough. And the another one we have is Theodore Adorno. This is already a question of NET exam. Multiple questions have already been asked. Now this time as it was in options. Cultural industry. उसको अब कर दो ना arrange. उसको वहाँ से कर दो. Let me show my students if they are not able to see. Okay. Just zoom it. Angle ऐसे कर दो ना. हाँ से ऐसे कर दो. Stand से bend हो रहा है. You don't have to fix. कोई बात नहीं. ऐसे कर दो. Now they have seen, we can move ahead. Okay. Stand थोड़ा नीचे कर दूँगा तो. Stand नीचे कर दीजिए. That will be more disturbing otherwise. No, you can just show it down by your hand. Okay. Thank you for helping me at home. So, cultural industry. The concept of cultural industry by Theodore Adorno and Max or humor. This is given in the essay called Dialectic of Enlightenment. I'll write the essay here. Dialectic of Enlightenment. Dialectic of Enlightenment. This is the essay. Please remember this. This is the timing 1947. 1947. So mark this up. Theodore Adorno, Dialectic of Enlightenment, 1947. Both of them have written this work. This cultural industry concept, the term cultural industry, that has been coined in this particular work. Next time they can ask you a question. Cultural industry, the term has been coined by. So you have to read the name of the writers. You have to remember the name of the book. The Dialectic of Enlightenment, 1947. Now, we go for the next point. This is something different because it is not directly connected to cultural studies. It is actually connected to critical theories. This writer, Jürgen Habermas, is actually called second generation critical theory writer. Please note it down. Jürgen, Jurgen Habermas, he's called second generation critical theory writer. He's from second generation. As we have only limited time, so I won't be able to talk about the first generation writers, but it is philosophy, society, and now this has become a theory. Philosophy, society, and theory. The first generation deals with the great chain of being. Now, the concept of public sphere, primarily this is not some literary theory. It is cultural kind of theory. Public sphere is a kind of area where we have open events and occasions where everybody can join. When you say this is public place, you can't smoke in public place. Public place में toilet करना मना है. What do you mean by public place, public space? Public place, public space is a kind of place where events, occasions are open for everyone. Now, they have studied the idea of public sphere, and when he did the study of the idea of public sphere, this is the question number 28 of your exam. 28वां question था ये. The study has three parts. The critique of the absolute state. So there is a society which is absolutist, capitalistic. Then the critique of democratic state, absolutist, democratic state. And the third one comes public sphere. Simply remember, they'll simply say Jürgen Habermas' idea of public sphere deals with three critiques. What are those three critiques? The critique of the absolute state, the critique of the democratic state, the critique of the public sphere. These three important critiques that you have to remember. And when you study this man, you'll find it out that he also did the study of public sphere on the basis of types of knowledge. This is another question. Please remember this. The idea, according to him, there are three types of knowledge. Three types of knowledge. Analytical knowledge, critical knowledge, and hermeneutics. Hermeneutics is again a theory. Analytical knowledge, critical knowledge, and hermeneutics. Three types of knowledge by Jürgen Habermas. It can be a question. I really wish ये question paper as it is there. So mark this up. इनके रट्टे लगा देना. Last minute है. I know. And one more thing I want to say. I am not teaching. This is not teaching. This is not the way I teach. I believe in explaining, taking references, making it easy. But we have exam. Paper pass में आ गया है. Limited time है. So this is not the right time to teach. In short, battlefield is not the right place to teach. Battlefield is to take the sword and fight. So you are in the battlefield. Last moment, if I start teaching, I'll take 3 hours lecture dealing with these terminologies. We don't have that much time. If you remember, I made a video. I told you the marathon things, getting students involved and not letting them study is not my way. We will take short class, but exclusive class. Gagar mein sagar. Mark this up. Three types of knowledge kya hai, critiques kya hai, Jürgen Habermas, known for public sphere theory. Please don't forget these points. Next one we have is, okay, this is the thing. If you want to study like this, to know these things, because I know many of these things are not even heard by you, we have started offline batch standard pen drive course. Same offline standard videos will be given to you in pen drive. Offline batch, classroom study, classroom का जो माहौल है, To get the offline batch standard things, just WhatsApp me on this number. What is this offline course, pendrive course? All my offline video lectures will be provided to you at your home. You can't come to Delhi, you can't afford in staying in Delhi, you are a female student, parents not allowing you to go to Delhi, don't worry. High level standard lectures, my Delhi University experience, my 10 net experience, and the way I teach in my class. You can get all these things. Pendrive course, just write down this, WhatsApp me, write down this, my name is this, I want pendrive course. Till now, 400 plus students have registered. We are getting a lot of messages. So do that and let's go for the next slide. Yeah, again, this is a memory. You will get the same standard. Imagine these people, like this girl is from Mumbai. Okay, this girl is from Patna. Then one of my, okay, this man is double JRF now. He's double JRF. Then he has qualified. He is assistant professor. His interview will be posted soon. So these kind of students, if you want to have this kind of standard, what these people are learning, you will have the same thing in your hands in pendrive course. So writing once again, before we go for the other topics, in pendrive course, WhatsApp me on 8810289637. Now let's talk about the points. Focus on this thing. Now the option, this question has been taken as a reference. So in the last question of Jürgen Habermas, it was in the option. So I have taken the option reference. Now what's happening here? This man, Jonathan Dollimore, very, very important. For this particular person is known for the reference of cultural materialism. So please remember, the famous term cultural materialism has been coined by him. I have taken the reference to teach you this. Cultural materialism. Paper में question आएगा. It was in the options. Who has coined the term cultural materialism? Jonathan Dollimore. In which book? Political Shakespeare. Political Shakespeare, Jonathan Dollimore has coined the term cultural materialism, and it was not him alone. This was written in collaboration. Who is the another writer? Alan Senfield. Jonathan Dollimore, Alan Senfield, they had a magazine, Political Shakespeare. Now please remember, Alan Senfield is also a separate writer. This is how I teach. Take references, know everyone. सबसे ज्यादा पढ़ के जाओ, सबसे ज्यादा चीजें जानो. No. Alan Senfield has written famous work, Textual Practice. Alan Senfield has written famous work, Textual Practice. Another famous work by same writer, Alan Senfield. Literature, Politics and Culture in Post-War Britain. Write down this thing. Alan Senfield, another famous work, Literature, Politics and Culture in Post-War Britain, timing 1989. Hope the board is clear. Is it clear? Tiger, no disturbance. Tiger is also enjoying lectures. So I hope that thing was clear. Now we go for other works of the same writer. So we have talked about this thing that Jonathan Dollimore, and he has coined the term cultural materialism in his famous work, Political Shakespeare. If this is asked in exam, please don't miss this question. Alan Senfield अगर आ जाता है तो textual practice and literature, politics and culture in post-war Britain. Please don't forget that. Now same writer, another work, Radical Tragedy. Famous work, Radical Tragedy. Complete title, Religion, Ideology and Power in the Drama of Shakespeare and Contemporary. Write down this thing. Radical Tragedy, Religion, Ideology and Power in the Drama of Shakespeare and Contemporaries. यहाँ पे टाइटल पूरा कर लेना आप. Shakespeare and Contemporaries. Famous work 1984. Then means they can ask this question. Who has written Radical Tragedy? So if they ask Radical Tragedy, remember it was written in 1984. Now comes another important thing. These two books, Sexual Dissidence 1991, Sex, Literature and Censorship 2001. These two particular books deal with the theory of perverse dynamic. Perverse dynamic theory plus transgressive reinscription theory. I'll write it for you. Transgressive reinscription. First, this theory, transgressive aggressive reinscription, and this one, perverse dynamic. These two theories have been coined in Sexual Dissidence 1991 and Sex, Literature and Censorship 2001 by Jonathan Dallimore. Don't miss that. This is again very, very important. Next one. This is question number 3. Question number 3. Match the work and date. So what happens, I've told you that sometimes they will pick a famous writer, they'll give you works, they'll say publication date. All of these works are by Roland Barthes, the structuralist critic. Roland Barthes has written all these works. Question number 3. And yes, it is only June exam. I have more questions. Then we have March exam, then the last November exam. I am going to pick more questions of culture studies, more questions of literary theory, postmodern literature, and like these capsule content video, I'll bring all those things for you. Now, and subscribe for this thing. So, Writing Degree 0, 1953, Mythologies, 1957, The Empire of Science, 1970, The Pleasure of the Text, 1973. My dear students, those who follow my guidance, this book, and this book, these three are really very, very important because these three books are directly connected to structuralism. So don't forget 1953, 1957 and The Pleasure of Text. Isko miss kar doge, not that risk, but don't miss these two. And if you say, sir, out of these three, the this one and this one, most important. Now, as they have asked the questions like this, I thought to take more references because Roland Barthes is not an ordinary writer. So for your future purposes, as I told you that this paper solution session is actually to talk about the next exam. Be prepared with this. The Death of the Author, 1967. S. Jed, 1970. Do you know that in S. Jed, he took the reference of Honore de Balzac's theory. Honore de Balzac wrote a short story, Saracen. Saracen has been taken as a reference in S. Jed. Take a reference, note it down. French writer. Then elements of semiology, very, very important. The rustle of language. This time I believe they can ask this. Chances बहुत हैं इसके 99% chance है. The rustle of language. Please check that 1984. Now let's go for the next slide. We are back to the place where we started. Matthew Arnold. I hope you got some benefits. I'll repeat once again, it was not the way I teach. This is not my method. I believe in teaching, explaining, making things easy. So what kind of session was that? It is just a revision session where I'm telling you how to take reference of questions and how to be prepared for more questions. So हम लोग पुराने questions को देख के नए questions का idea लगा रहे हैं. तो प्लीज रिपीट अगेन, मैं ऐसे नहीं पढ़ाता. पढ़ाने में बहुत जैसे आई एम रियली फास्ट है ना, पढ़ाने में आई शुड बी स्लो, आई शुड टीच, आई शुड एक्सप्लेन. बट दिस सेशन द लास्ट मिनट वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू talk about these things. Do we have anything to show? Nothing else. Okay. This is the last one. All the students who just want to come in class and sit live in front of me, WhatsApp on 88102 89637. Offline batch starting from 7th January. Offline पढ़ना है, चाहे इश्क हो या पढ़ाई, मजा ऑफलाइन में आता है. तो अगर ऑफलाइन आना है, 7 जनवरी से बैच स्टार्ट हो रहा है, 7th of January. रजिस्ट्रेशन गोइंग ऑन, सीट बुकिंग शुरू हो गई है. कल वेस्ट बंगाल से 3 सीट बुक हुई हैं. सो रजिस्ट्रेशन इज गोइंग ऑन. टू गेट रजिस्टर्ड, WhatsApp me on this number. Imagine you'll be taking my 3 to 4 hour classes per day. 3 से 4 घंटे I will be teaching 3 to 4 hours. Other teachers 2.5 hours. 7 hours, 9 to 3. A session every day. 5 months, 5 महीने, 7 घंटे. मेरे साथ जो teachers हैं, 3 experts for paper 1. 3 teachers for paper 1. Vineet Pandey with 10 net, 7 hours per day. Imagine. So if you want to be the part of offline batch and you want to clear all the exams related to literature, Registration is going on. WhatsApp on this number. For this, you can simply write offline batch Delhi registration. Offline batch Delhi registration. That's how you can do. And those who cannot come can go for online classes. 15th December. If you're not able to go for pen drive class, then you can simply go for online classes. Here also you will get video lectures. This was the information for all of you. Thank you so much. Stay tuned. अभी बहुत सारी questions बाकी हैं. There are so many questions which are pending. Of the list, let's take this chance to show. What is this? Gujarat set. अभी हुआ है. I've got the paper. 26th November, Gujarat set. I have got the paper. I have to discuss these things also. So stay tuned. Your future is highly updated. Stay tuned. Thank you so much. Take care.